So here's some things you can do if you're starting to feel like you might be going down this path, or you're even identifying that in your partner, that there's just an increasing sense of burnout happening. This is before you're burnt out, what you can do to try and put things in place to slow down. The first one is to say it out loud, to actually vocalize it. And I would say for me, when I've felt like I've been heading down that path, having the conversation has been one of the most impactful things that's turned it around for me. Just kind of the stuff that sits in our head loves to sit there in the dark
Yeah.
and fester. And once you can kind of communicate it out loud, honestly, it just loses a lot of its power, which is really helpful. So the next thing is you're feeling like you're overwhelmed. You're feeling like you've got too much on. You might even not know what it is that's weighing on you. Sometimes I find that really hard.
Mm.
So, for one thing, sitting down and just taking stock of where you're at is really helpful. We've got a resource on the website called the Wheel of Relationships. But it's basically a wheel of life exercise, which is a really common coaching tool to help people just look at a visualization of where their life is balanced. So they go through a bunch of categories and then rate it to see how they're feeling. So if you're sitting there like, I don't even know what's feeling heavy, something like that could be helpful for just kind of getting a bit of clarity there. But the other really important thing is to sit down and figure out what is something that I can cut down on or slow down on it. And I think with this whole culture that we have of this rush, busy burnout culture that's going on, you can feel guilty or like it's not appropriate to pull back on things.
Mm.
And I think that's really unhelpful as
Yeah.
families, especially relationships, couples. It's really unhelpful to feel like you can't pull back on anything. But there's this element of just being like, okay, we can't keep going this way. What's the cost if we do keep going this way, for one thing? And two, so many things we do is not worth the additional pressure when you're already feeling low like this. So sitting down and cutting something out or delaying something, canceling something, or just saying no to something. There are so many things I think if we looked at it objectively, there'd be so many things that we do every single day that we don't need to be doing or we don't need to be prioritizing at that point.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be something big.
No.
You know, if you're feeling this stress sort of building up and this fogginess of like, well, I don't know what I'm feeling. What's just start with something small, like a small thing that you can just stop. Whether I can't give you any examples, but you just think through what's something small that can you give just one
Yeah.
thing. What can I stop? Because then that's just one less thing on your shoulders, and then you're going to feel that weight like be removed, and then you can like slowly add more things to that list and help you process that. But because this can otherwise be quite overwhelming to do. Of like, well, no, I can't give that up because then this affects it. Well, it's like, well, cool, just do one small thing.
Yeah. And I think as well, a lot of the time, the things we have on our plate feel and sound like good things. And we've got a phrase in ministry, which is Christian related, which is it a good thing or a God thing? Because a lot of people will mistake something that's a good thing as something that God wants them to do. And I think it's a similar concept here where, is it a good thing that's just a good thing objectively, or is it an appropriate thing for me to be doing or putting my time into? And there's a balance between not everything that's a good thing objectively is going to be a good thing for you right now. So taking that moment to be like, maybe it's not required of me that I attend all these different meetings or I'm on these different groups or social things or whatever is going on. You've got multiple activities throughout the week. Maybe one of those isn't necessary or isn't good for me right now. So just taking that time to assess and think about what it is you fill your time with and what might not be needed right now and that you could take a break from or just pull back. The other thing is prioritizing sleep, nutrition, and movement, which is, like we've spoken about, really hard to do when you're in it, but a game changer, like can be the game changer for some people's mental health.
This is what changed my burnout.
Yeah, it did.
It
Yeah.
literally was. So I couldn't do this. Like I really had to rely on Amy, which is again not a proud moment of mine, but it just was what reality was. Amy essentially forced me out the door to go for a 2-minute walk. That's what we started, was like a 2-minute walk just to get outside, get off the couch, get outside. And we went for a walk as a family. It was literally 2 minutes. I think I was numb the whole time. I don't think I said a word, but getting out in the sunlight, moving was such a huge thing. And then from there, every day I went for at least one, if not 2 walks a day. Cause I just, the importance of that was, I just saw it straight away.
Yeah. I'll say when I'm feeling low generally, not super, at dire straits or anything, assessing whether I'm getting enough water, if I'm getting enough sleep, which is never, if I'm eating well, like there have been times where I've just been like, I need to go sit outside on the grass with my feet in the grass and eat an apple. And it's like, I've just eaten so much disgusting food for so long. And especially when you are in survival mode, it's hard to prioritize. And it's also a lot of work to think about what's healthy and that kind of thing. So just if you have not taken stock of where you're at with those things, they are not only an incredible starting point, a lot of the time they'll be the game changer for where you're at and turning things around. And moving might not be, it's not my go-to. So me telling Blair to go for walks or helping him go for walks was not my go-to, but it was necessary. Sometimes it's just about that. It's about getting what you need in there to fuel your body so that you can at least start to think more clearly about what's going on. Another option we have here is just in your relationship, or even by yourself if you need to, taking a 5-minute anchor chat and just taking a check-in, assessing what's feeling heavy for you today. Talking about that with your partner is really good. We've spoken about this before, where it's like, it's hard if you've got these open-ended questions and they have to kind of come up with some big answer. But just saying what feels heavy for you today. For most people, it's easy enough to identify something that might feel heavy. What has helped you today, or what could help you today, is another thing to check in. And what do you need from me tomorrow, or what would you need tomorrow in order to feel better? Having those little practical, not open-ended questions to check in and see what it is that could help and what it might be that's weighing on you can be really helpful. As a couple, it's really important when you're navigating this with your partner that you're a team together too, because if one partner is going through this and they feel like they have to implement everything and it's a burden to the other person, it's going to be really tough. And saying no together as a family to things like when you're figuring out what to cut back on, I think that's really important. We couldn't, COVID helped, I'll put that disclaimer out there, but we couldn't just keep doing what we were doing as a family. It wasn't a matter of Blair had to step back from what he was doing. We had to assess what the family rhythm was. And that includes not just obligations and jobs and work and social stuff. That includes like how we live. Like we couldn't just keep living the way we lived without intentionality, without making space for movement or without making space for rest and that kind of thing. So doing that as a family and practicing saying no is actually not a bad thing to do. Like it might feel bad, but it's not a bad thing to be like, no, we're not going to put that on our plate this semester. We're not going to consider joining this for right now or adding this to how we're living day to day right now, because it's not going to be helpful or healthy for us. And then this is a really cool one, is choosing one burnout buffer each daily. So find something that gives you life, and that can be walking, podcasts, solo time, journaling, meditation. Finding one thing that is a burnout buffer that each of you can have every day. It's a non-negotiable. Every day you get your 20 minutes to go for your walk. Every day you get your 20 minutes to do your relaxing shower with your meditation music. Whatever it is that's a buffer for you to get some break in your day, make that a priority within your relationship.
Again, it can be something small. So this has been a big thing for me too, is like, everything feels like a task. If I want to have solo time, if I want to go for a walk, if I want to journal, it all feels like a task. And so the best thing is like, what is achievable and maintainable at the moment?
Yeah.
If it's 2 minutes outside, take 2 minutes outside, and you start there. You're building the rhythm, you're building the habit, and you'll grow from that point. But so don't stress too much about. Don't let it stress you or overwhelm you of being another task. This needs to feed you, not drain you.
Yeah, for example, my thing that I love doing, and I haven't been doing it, is having a coffee in this front room because I love the sun in the morning. Something about that. Just I have a coffee every morning. So instead I could sit here and have my coffee with nice music, and I just haven't been doing that. So yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated or a big thing, just something that feeds you and gives you a little boost and a buffer. So then we're moving into, if you're already feeling like you're at burnout and it's at that stage already, the first step again is just to speak it out. Don't downplay it. Don't try and make it less than it is. It's really important to be honest with your partner and or with someone else that you trust, just to be able to verbalize that. And even for yourself, I think a lot of time we're not honest with ourselves about what's going on. So saying it honestly and clearly, even if it's messy, is really important. And then stripping right back. So that is canceling, delaying, ditching non-essentials, figuring out what you need to be doing and figuring out what you don't need to do. And that includes asking for help, figuring out who you have in your life that can assist with those things. If this was us now, how can we get regular help every week from our family around that, could help us with the kids or could help us with cleaning if cleaning feels too much, those kinds of things. And going into maintenance mode, food, sleep, basic connection is also I think sometimes really necessary, and it was for us.
Yeah.
Thankfully, COVID again made that really easy to go into maintenance mode. We didn't have outside obligations for a while. We've been talking about eating well, getting enough sleep and that kind of thing. I do feel like there's a lot of grace there too, where it's like things like if the idea of making dinner is just so much, relieve yourself of that for a little while. Be like, we're going to get takeout this week. Or HelloFresh or something like that. We're going to find a way that we aren't cooking, or we'll ask for help in that space. But you don't have to be like, yeah, but if, like we've just said, be healthy. But then if that idea is too overwhelming, that's not the most important thing. That's just to help you. So figure out ways.
It's just a season. It's just a season. It's maintenance mode for a season. It's not maintenance mode forever.
Yeah.